Well, hello everybody. It's Wheezy on the connection between the Daniel Morgan's murder and the chilling racist killing of Stephen Lawrence in Eltham back in 93. If you missed our previous videos on this series, please check the comment section for a link to the playlist to catch up. In today's episode, we're untangling the crazy web that ties the Daniel Morgan murder to the racially charged slaying of Stephen Lawrence. Now, isn't it a crazy coincidence that two of the ghastly murders of the last century happened practically next door to each other? I'm talking about the assassination of the private investigator Daniel Morgan in 1987 and the racist murder of Stephen Lawrence in 93. Flashback to the 80s and 90s, right? In the UK, the symbiotic relationship between corrupt officers at Sydenham Police Station, down here at the bottom, and certain media members was so intense that the area where both offices were located earned the nickname News of the World Regional Crime Squad. Now meet Commander Ray Adams. He was the big shot who was the head honcho of criminal intelligence for the Metropolitan Police in that area. Commander Ray Adams has a story that's deeper than any rabbit hole I have ever seen. To understand the whole story, we need to take a little detour into his own story. Before we continue, if you're not already part of the Isabella Banks YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Join the Inspector Gadget Club on Isabella Bank's YouTube channel. Click that subscribe button for your VIP pass to a non-stop roller coaster of jaw-dropping revelations, sassy commentary, and a sparkle of humor that will make you snot laugh in public. Also, click the like button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these updates. Trust me, you won't regret it. For all those who have already subscribed, welcome back and thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you. Okay, let's dive back in. Fast forward to 2012 when a BBC bombshell dropped, revealing a Metropolitan Police document calling Adams corrupt. As it turns out, an earlier corruption probe of him had a tainted star witness, a guy tied to Stephen Lawrence's killer crew, a snitch named David Norris. According to this report, David Norris, who gave the testimony, was a police informant. It was alleged that Adams had coached the witness with the informant's lying account, discrediting a witness who had earlier implicated Adams in the corruption probe we had mentioned earlier. And just one more thing before we go deeper into this story, I need to do the necessary unverified content disclaimer. Okay, let's protect this YouTube channel at all costs. So, the content provided in this video has not been independently verified and should be taken as Wheezy's perspective or opinion. I strive to present accurate and reliable information, but due to the nature of the content, I cannot always guarantee its complete accuracy. Viewers are encouraged to conduct their own research or seek professional advice before making decisions based on the information presented in this video. Isabella Bank's YouTube channel is not responsible for any consequences that may arise from the use of unverified information gotten from this channel. Okay. All right, let's move on. Now, back to the story. The backstory to the witness who had discredited Adams in the corruption probe is as follows, right? In 1998, a handler of stolen goods named Malone was arrested in Dorking. He was an antiques dealer who ran a network of burglars who stole to order, breaking into houses throughout southern England. When I said I was going to tell you a story, I'm sure you were not expecting that. hmm Now, here's where it gets juicy. Before Malone was arrested during the investigation, right? Every time the stalking cops notified Scotland Yard, somehow Malone's team got wind of it and the operation failed. So the Dorking team got suspicious of the London team and decided to pretend to shut down the investigation. They went undercover and boom, they arrested Malone. The antique dealer was shocked at their arrest and blurted out words which seemed to suggest that he didn't expect to be arrested because he had paid Adam's protection money. He told the police that he had been introduced to Adam by Kenneth Noye, a well known gangster. At the time, the antique dealer had expressed willingness to make a statement on Adams, but subsequently refused to cooperate. The whole matter was therefore referred to the Metropolitan Police's anti corruption unit, and the resulting investigation led to the all secret report of 2000. And guess what? This secret report exposed our man, Ray Adams, despite his efforts to hide the truth. David Norris, said to be Adams' informant, had told police detectives investigating the matter that Malone was a close associate and had stated that Malone's claims against Adams were totally false and malicious. It was also interesting to note that Ray Adams had recently transferred to the same branch of the Metropolitan Police which had generated David Norris's report. Fast forward to Adams' stint in the Lawrence murder investigation, 4 years after the corruption probe. Adams found himself leading the investigation, but for someone leading the team, he appeared to have very little to do with the investigation, which was very sus in itself. The only record of his participation in the case was the evidence of a letter which he had signed, which was written to the Lawrence family lawyer, Imran Khan. And then, like magic, he took a convenient sick leave in May 93, hanging up his hat for good in August that same year. Imran Khan, the Lawrence's family legal solicitor, did a little digging and caught wind of Adam's shady past. He wondered if Adam's previous antics might have tampered with the Lawrence's murder investigation. I say smart move. Flash forward to the Stephen Lawrence murder inquiry of 1998, where the Lawrence family raised eyebrows. They suspected Adams' role in the case wasn't straightforward and might have been aimed at delaying the suspect's arrest. The family speculated that this might be tied to Adams' previous interactions with Kenneth Noye, who interestingly had links to Clifford Norris, the father of one of the Stephen Lawrence murder suspects. What a tangled web we weave. So here enters Kenneth Noye into the story. Kenneth Noye was a real character with a rap sheet longer than a CVS receipt. He faced charges for the suspected stabbing of a surveillance police officer in his back garden. And he was involved in the sale of gold from the infamous 1983 Brinkmat robbery, a £26 million heist later dramatized in the BBC TV series The Gold, the largest heist since the Great Train Robbery of 1963. The question is, despite David Norris's claim to the contrary, being he claimed, right, Malone's claims were fictitious and completely malicious and had nothing to do with Adams. But of course, the police have to do their investigation, right? So the question is, during the course of their investigation, did the police, following Malone's story, find that Adams and Kenneth Noye were connected? It turns out that during the investigation into the 1983 Matt Gold heist, an officer kept notes in a pocketbook. Adams and Kenneth Noye, as Malone had claimed. The notes in the pocketbook revealed a request from Noye for a visit from none other than John Adams. Noye emphasized the need for secrecy, suggesting Adams pose as his accountant during the visit. The twist in the tale comes when the deputy commissioner overseeing these meetings agreed to allow Adams visit Noye in his cell because Noye claims to be an informant for Ray Adams. The 2000 report mentions two encounters between Adams and Noye, but unfortunately, nothing substantial was gleaned from these clandestine rendezvous. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the backstory of Commander John Adams and how he became connected to this case. He's also the same man who is known as Murdoch's yardman, or should we say enforcer. Remember how I had told you earlier that Adams took sick leave in May 1993 and never returned to duty after his retirement in August of that same year? Well, Where do you think Adams went after he retired? Adams's next job was the deputy head of security for NDS, the global security arm for Murdoch's News Corp. Coincidence? I think not. Let me tell you, of course, I had to look into that story. And when I tell you that that company is not without scandal itself, believe me, NDS was embroiled in a massive scandal involving a piracy site called the House of Three computer. This site allowed hackers to post codes enabling users to pirate pay TV service for Murdoch's competitors. Goodness me, I'll spare you the details, but just trust me when I tell you it's a complete scandal of its own. It had its own inquiry, its own investigation, but of course, he got away with it. Perhaps I'll do a video on this after I'm done with this series. Let's refocus on the main story, which is the connection between Southern investigations, the police, and the media. Just to confirm how much the media does not want people looking into these cases, right? The powers that be have done everything that they can to ensure that the court does not arrive at any reasonable conclusion which will result in consequences for the media or the police. The investigations into the murders have seen more plot twists than a Netflix thriller. For instance, in the 1998 Macpherson inquiry into Stephen Lawrence's murder, it was found that the Metropolitan Police was guilty of institutional racism. But guess what? No one was held accountable. Fast forward to 2014, during the phone hacking scandal, right? And an independent review pointed the finger at police corruption as a key player. No one was held accountable at this time either. Flash forward again to 2021, and the Daniel Morgan Independent Panel inquiry concluded that the UK's largest police force had a major case of institutional corruption. Talk about a pattern, but still, no one was held accountable. Now, let's zoom in on the link between Southern investigations and the news of the world. For nearly 2 decades, right, News of the World was the go to client for Southern investigations. Sid Fillery and Jonathan Rees, the masterminds behind Southern investigations, played mentor to the star reporter Mazher Mahmood. Now, if you're into current affairs, you probably heard of Mahmood, aka the Fake Sheikh. In my deep dive, I uncovered mind blowing stuff that made me fall off my chair in the course of this video a couple of times. It's crazy to know how many scandalous things are happening around us on a daily basis while we walk about oblivious. Mahmood was a British journalist working with News of the World. He was famously known as the Fake Sheikh. His antics were so over the top that there's a documentary about him called The Fake Sheikh. Mahmood's claim to fame? Investigating celebrities and pulling off high profile stunts. His piece de resistance, the 2010 sting where the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, allegedly offered access to Prince Andrew for a cool £500,000. Cue the jaw dropping moment. I know, right? That must have rung a bell. It's all connected, people. It's all connected. Quick question. Is that the reason why Sarah Ferguson has not been able to speak up in defense of Harry and Meghan? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Back to Mahmood. His career came crashing down when Tulisa Kontostavlos, a former X Factor judge, decided to fight back against a possible jail term by exposing Mahmood's shady methods after Mahmood tried to trap her in a Coca Cola sting. You know, Coca Cola? So that's the character of the Mahmood that we're discussing. And he's the one the private investigators, Southern Investigations, were working with to get him scoops, awards, and money for the news of the world, aka the media. Now, circling back to the Daily Mirror trial, let's remember Derek Haslam, the secret witness. Haslam, an undercover police officer investigating Daniel Morgan's murder and police corruption, targeted Southern investigations. He reported back to his superiors at the Metropolitan Police about the array of unlawful information gathering services provided by Reese and Fillery. Shocking! Commander Ray Adam strikes again. This, my friends, exposes a criminal nexus. On one side, you've got the media cozying up to a corrupt firm of private investigations for scoops, money, and awards. On the flip side, you've got the police who have shady dealings with big time crime lords. These crime lords, in turn, wield influence over the police, the media, and the private investigators. That is a symbiotic relationship that is going to breed nothing other than corruption, right? When the crime lord's nephew faced charges for the racist stabbing of Stephen Lawrence, the police worked overtime to cover it up, aided by media manipulation. Illegal information gathering methods came into play: phone bugging, computer hacking, all to monitor the Lawrence family's reactions. Prince Harry has declared his intention to confront media corruption. Yet, this endeavor transcends media. It's a battle against corrupt police and exposes the dark underbelly of the UK. In the grand scheme of things, the royal family are not really that important. They have their Game of Thrones problem, sure, but as it relates to this issue, their main function was to provide the media with window dressing to distract from the machinations going on behind the scenes, whether under duress or not, we will never know. Actually, scratch that. Because in 2024, we may know because revelations are popping off like fireworks on New Year's Eve. But let's face the elephant in the room: the brutal treatment of Prince Harry. It's as clear as day that it's not just about him stepping back or his post exit actions. If they couldn't stop his lawsuits, they went for Plan B, distancing themselves from him, shouting to the media, the police, and any of the interested parties, "We're not with him." At this point, both parties have seen each other's actions as the matter has progressed, and neither has backed down. The royal family must have had the same access to the information I have just relayed to you, and yet they deemed it fit to remove, among other things, Harry's security. As I delved into this royal whirlwind, one burning question kept surfacing: how did Murdoch, the police, and the media get away with such blatant disregard for law and order? Hold your horses as I answer that question in my next video, where I'll be spilling the tea on how the Murdoch Empire hacked into British politics. This is Wheezy signing out for now. Until next time, stay fabulous. Bye.